Hello, 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 everybody. I am so excited. My friend Sherell Slaise, yes,
Yes.
yes, um, and I have been talking for a little bit. How do we best support each other? And we came up with this idea to do a collaborative spotlight with each other's communities. And it has been so fun thinking about what we're going to share and how we're going to go about doing this. Um, so, I just wanted to give a brief introduction. So, Sherelle has a couple of decades under her belt in the corporate world and then has changed and moved into this entrepreneurial space and how to make that transition from corporate to entrepreneurial, which can be a little scary. And there's so many little strategies and things that are necessary. So I'm just going to start with asking Sherelle, tell us a little bit about that journey. Like, how did you go from like being in that and being successful, a successful corporate woman? But yeah,
Yeah. So it's crazy to say it like this, but because it just really dates me. But it was 20 years ago. Actually, it was probably 25 years ago that I had come to a point in my career when I had a decision to make. And many people thought the decision I was making, which was to move into entrepreneurship, was going to be risky. At the time, I was working as a management consultant for one of the big five consulting firms, Deloitte Consulting, and I was doing the work for 10 years that I was trained to do. I was consulting hospitals and healthcare organizations with mergers and acquisitions. So I was working with C-level professionals, and the work that I was doing was successful. So therefore, it looked successful from the outside, but I knew deep down that I wanted something different. And a lot of that came from my desire to impact um, the people who are most influenced by me more, as well as have more independence and more freedom of my time and my money. So I wanted the ownership of me. I wanted the ownership of my time. I wanted the ownership of my direction. I wanted the ownership of my future. So I spent months thinking about the decision to move. Actually, I spent a good 5 years thinking through how was I going to make this ultimate leap at the age of 30 out of corporate and into entrepreneurship. And so that's pretty much what happened. I spent time analyzing, I was planning, I was evaluating, and then one day I said, you know what, I got to make a decision. And I just made that leap. And since then, I have created three businesses. One in real estate. I own a real estate firm in Chicago. We grew to be the largest real estate consulting, property management and preservation, and brokerage, residential and commercial brokerage firm on the south side of Chicago as a minority women-owned business enterprise. Owned that for 11 years. Built that into a multiple six-figure business, and then I started a leadership development organization in network marketing globally in Japan, Canada, and in the United States. Grew that to over 3,000 consultants that I led for well over 11 years. And then my consultancy, I decided to take all of what I've learned and package it into a consulting and coaching program for online entrepreneurs and coaches and course creators and consultants that want to monetize their corporate profession skills and knowledge. And built a multiple six-figure business from that as well. So it was just a culmination of years of experience in the making. But I think the big thing we get to talk about today is just that line in the sand and making a decision in order to get the results that I was looking for.
That's exactly what I thought. Like it takes that like leap of faith, that leap into the unknown. And there's a quote that I love when I was starting to do this leap myself a few years ago,
Yeah.
and it's oh Camille Ravikant, and he
Uh-huh.
said, um, "There's magic on the other side of fear."
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that really that decision making is that point. And so as you were saying that, what like was there something specific that made you go, okay, I'm just going to make this decision, or was it just that inner knowing that you had to do something?
Well, there was the inner knowing that I had to do something. I didn't know what that something was. So it was really, me reading and taking in words from mentors that I would say that I adopted through my reading or podcasts that I was listening to, or even actual mentors that I would talk to, and just colleagues, that I spoke to that opened my mindset and
Mm.
thinking to the possibility of creating something. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew I was going to create something, and that something had to be outside of a 9 to 5 career.
I
So lack of clarity, absolutely. I did not have clarity, but I did have leadership. I did have leadership.
And
And
yeah,
yep,
that's what we're going to talk today. Becoming the leader who gets results. And oh, Sherelle, I'm so excited. I'm ready to take my notes and I'm ready
okay.
to sit at your feet and learn. Please.
Yeah. And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share what I've learned through the years. And it's um, what I'm going to be talking about today. It's not something that anyone can teach you. You actually have to move through the experience multiple times through time in order to gain an understanding of what's required in order to get the needle to move in the direction that you want to go, or to get the results, to get the outcome that you actually want. So I appreciate, the opportunity to be able to share what I've learned through the years. And if you're a person who is experiencing feeling stalled or overwhelmed, or starting and stopping as it relates to projects, as it relates to career progression, as it relates to anything, even in your home, in your relationships, and you're just not getting that movement and that momentum, that progress, this is going to be a really good talk for you. So,
Yes, 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 yes. That movement, that progress. Let's go. I'm
okay.
ready.
All right. Should I share some slides?
Yes, please.
Okay. So let me see if I can do that really quickly, and then you guys can follow. Everyone can follow along with what I'm going to share. Helps keep my brain organized. So let's see here. Um,
While you're getting your brain organized, I noticed in the chat, Daryl said that he also made that leap at age 30. Man, I wish I had
yes.
been like age 30. That's golden. All right, let's
Yeah, but
go.
the real question is, are we age 30? Are we the same age? Are we dating ourselves, Daryl?
Oh, he just put it in
I,
the chat.
I'm vintage 1971. So there you
Let's
go.
do it. Let's do it. Okay. So I see I'm going to open up the chat so that we can dialogue as well. You all, I'm very interactive. So if there's anything that I'm talking about, just put it in the chat. I've got it in front of me. I'll be looking back and forth just to make sure that I can see what comments you're dropping into the chat. So feel free to do that.
Beautiful.
2002, Daryl, rock on, rock on. So yeah, so I just want to just kind of level set the room, and let's just agree that results and your ability to get results are rarely a talent problem. It's rarely a talent problem. It's very rarely, a skills problem. You're good at what you do. You've been in the professional world or you've accomplished results in the past. So you know you can accomplish results again. So it's not an issue. Your ability to be able to move something forward is not an issue of your talent. It's usually an issue of your leadership. Okay, that's the problem. So many people who are capable, they find themselves stuck because they're hesitating, they're doubting themselves, or perhaps even simpler, they're working inconsistently. So that's the reason why you're not getting results. People who produce results, people like me, I'm a high results creator, although I do have moments when I'm not creating results and I find myself having to go back into the leadership formula that I'm going to share with you today. Um, they operate differently, they think differently, they make decisions differently, they execute differently. And so if you can make three simple leadership shifts today, it's going to be the thing that's going to allow you to be able to have the results that you are seeking. And I think the best way for me to share um, the results, like this formula that I'm going to share with you, is through just like some storytelling. Let me see if I can go to the next slide here. Is through storytelling. Heather just asked me, how did I make that shift from corporate into entrepreneurship? Having grown up in the 80s, the way to make money af- is after school is you go to college, you get a good job, and you stay in that job for 30 years, right? That was like the,
It was
the the
the way.
continuum. And that was the expectation from my family, maybe the expectation from some of your families as well. And so that was the only way that I knew to have success. But like I mentioned, 5 years before I actually leapt from corporate, I just started thinking differently. And what became what I'll call like the the productivity killer, meaning the thing that stopped me from being able to move more quickly out of my career, was I was waiting for certainty. I was waiting for like assurance that this was the thing that I needed to do before I actually started taking action.
Yes.
And because of that, I stalled, right? It was like 5 years. I stalled. I did not make progress to do the necessary things that I needed to do in order to leave my career. So again, remember, I was 25 when the seed was planted. And I'm like, I really don't want to work in this 9 to 5 any longer. I was exhausted. I was traveling Monday through Thursday. As a consultant, home on the weekends, high stress deadlines, um, high presentation, presentation decks that had to be turned around over and over again, and a lot of pressure from my partners within the firm, had me totally stressed out. So, but because I was looking for certainty to take action, it had me stalled. And there were missed opportunities that happened during that period of time. And so therefore I lost the momentum. So therefore I couldn't make that leap as fast as I wanted to. It took about 5 years in order for me to be able to make that leap. So what I want to share with you is that your consistency, your decisiveness, your ability to decide, your ability to have confidence in your decision, and your ability to stay consistent with the decision that you make is the thing that will shift your ability to be able to get the results that you're seeking, right? So let's talk about leading with decisiveness, because that's where it really starts. Hesitation is the thing that delays your progress and it's going to stall your momentum. And we're hesitant about a lot of things. I mean, at that time, the hesitation that I had was, what industry am I going to go into? How am I going to package my expertise? And how do I make money from it? Because I got to pay my bills and I got to eat, right? So I'm hesitating in taking any action during that period of time because I just didn't have the answers to those questions. And without answers to those questions, I was missing out on opportunities because there were all kinds of options that were coming up for me during that period of time. But I needed to get the answers to those questions before I would be able to make any progress. But what I learned and what I've learned through the years, and by the way, I'm using this as an example so you can just hear how it's landed for this circumstance. I want you to think of a project that you're working on, or maybe think about that business that you're thinking about launching, or maybe think about an offer. Maybe you're in business, an offer that you want to put out into the world and make money from it. Anything, right? Whatever you're thinking, I want you to apply what I'm teaching you to that. Okay. So a decisive leader takes action without having any direction. Okay. A decisive leader takes direction when they're still unclear and when they're still hesitant, right? Because your clarity is not going to come until you start taking action. That's where clarity comes from. It's through gathering the experience of having taken action and then documenting, measuring that experience in order to know next time whether you should make that same decision. And the thing to give you comfort is most decisions are reversible, right? So if you're right, yay, most decisions are reversible. So waiting for the decision to arrive is rarely going to improve them. Does that make sense? So clarity appears after you take action. So one of the things, I was actually visiting with my sister in Washington, D.C. this weekend, and she was being hesitant on some decisions that she needed to make. And what I was sharing with her, was an article because I literally just wrote about this in I put out a weekly newsletter every Sunday to my audience, of leaders who are looking to make the leap out of corporate and create a business that they own. I talked about hesitancy and the need for decisiveness. And I was sharing it with my sister, and she was like, yeah, sure. But she was like, I'm actually in that situation right now. How do I get out of it? And I said, well, there's a quick framework that you can use to help you get out of this hesitancy and lead with decisiveness. And one of them is asking yourself the question, is the decision that I'm making aligned with my goal? Is the decision that I'm making aligned with my goal? So I knew that's the first thing. I knew at the age of 25 to 30 that the decision I was making was going to be aligned with my goal. My ultimate goal was independence of my time and independence of my money. And I knew with certainty I didn't want to work for anyone ever again in my life. I didn't want to do that. So if I were to leave corporate, is that decision aligned with that goal? Yeah, absolutely. It was. So that's the first thing you want to ask yourself. Okay. The second thing you want to ask yourself is, do I have enough information in order to make a move forward? So during those 5 years, I did not have enough information in order to make that leap. I didn't know exactly, what my first step would be once I said I'm leaving the job, and I didn't know what the next steps were going to be after that. So I felt hesitant, right? But what I did know was I didn't want to be there any longer. And I knew that if I started having internal conversations with advocates within my company to make that leap, then I would be able to start moving forward. So it wasn't until the fifth year, which I was 30 at that time, did I realize, why don't I just have a conversation with someone internally at this company about my desire to lead, and perhaps some movement or the second step would reveal themselves once I take that first step. So that's what I did. Okay, so that's number two. Do you have enough information to move forward? And the third thing is, what is the action that you can take right now in order for you to have that second step reveal itself? Okay, so those are the three things that you can think about to be able to lead yourself with more decisiveness. Is it aligned with your goal? Do you have enough information to move forward? And what is the next action that you can take like right now in order to get moving. Because the ultimate goal and the thing you want to know is that to lead with decisiveness, know that you have to make some sort of movement because that's where your progress is going to come from. Okay? Progress comes from direction plus movement, never from having the perfect decision be made. Okay? All right. Second thing is confidence. I get this a lot, Sherell. I lack confidence. That's why I haven't gone live on social media. I lack confidence. I just don't, I don't have the courage to make an offer. I don't have the courage to leave my job and start those conversations. Where do I get that confidence from? Well, listen, confidence is not going to just magically appear. It just doesn't work that way. Okay. It's a fundamental, it's actually a leadership attribute that you must obtain in order to get confidence. And confidence comes through practicing being a certain way. So you have to anchor in the identity of what confidence is for you in order for confidence to show up for yourself. And then demonstrating, acting, and being in confident identity over and over and over again is what's going to have it be anchored into who you are. Okay. Many people look back on their outcomes and say, okay, this didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out. So therefore, I'm not going to do it again, or therefore, I'm uncomfortable to do it again. So I'm not going to do it again. Right? You have to choose to make decisions anyway with courage, even when things are unstable. That's how you build confidence. It's doing things when you're uncomfortable, doing things when you're uncertain, making decisions when you're not certain. This is where you build confidence. Confidence is a leadership attribute muscle. You build it, you develop it. Okay? And I think the thing that I see most often with my clients is they're looking for praise, they're looking for approval, they're looking for validation and outcomes in order to feel confident before they take action. But the thing is that confidence fluctuates, right?
Yeah.
Like, and confidence fluctuates because results fluctuate. So you can't wait for praise, you can't wait for outcomes, and you can't wait for validation and approval in order to have confidence. You have to be confident.
Exactly. So much of what I work with my clients
Yeah,
is exactly that, like embodying the confidence. Um, and so often we look for that validation. We look for the
hmm,
confidence outside of ourselves.
right.
And when we can be like, come inside and find it inside, power,
Power, yeah,
power.
and those are the leaders, the ones, and you can attest to this, Heather, with those women that you work with who've already decided who they are. Uh, their behavior follows accordingly, right? Because they've already said, "This is who I am. This is what I stand for. I'm nothing different than what I say that I am." And then they're able to take the necessary actions to lead them to where it is that they want to go. And so that's what happened with me, moving and making this big decision to leave corporate. I anchored myself in the identity of I'm a leader, I'm good at what I do, I'm able to create things. I can change decisions whenever I want to change decisions. I don't have to be here forever. I'm someone who finishes what I start. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who leads with clarity. Like I had to talk to myself to become the person who no longer was comfortable sitting in a 9 to 5 job. And that happened in my 5th year. I was age 30. When I say fifth year of like thinking it through and analyzing, it wasn't until um, it was January 2007 where I made the decision that I'm not staying here any longer. And because of all of the mindset work that I had been doing, reading books and listening to different audios, I had shifted. My identity had shifted. I was no longer a corporate employee. I was an entrepreneur, stuck in a corporate job. So it was that month where I said, you know what? Line in the sand. My last day here is going to be May of that year, so 5 months later, and I made the announcement that I'm leaving in that period of time. So confidence grows when your actions align with who you are. So I was able to have that conversation because I knew that I was completely someone else and someone else that didn't belong where I was at that time. Okay. The third principle I wanted to give you is consistency. Woo-wee! Consistency is a good one too. So, right?
Oh, sister.
And this is where I'm preaching to myself, right? Where I am the choir. It's
Yes.
consistency that's going to produce your results, right? Um, Most of us, notice how I say us, we work in bursts. We work when we feel motivated. We work when we're inspired. Um, and it only happens in like short periods of time. So therefore, you're not going to create any momentum. Maybe you had momentum for a week, but after that week, when the momentum and the inspiration goes away,
Yeah.
that momentum disappears, right? So what's required here in order to have consistency is systems. Results require systems. That way, you don't have to rely on inspiration or motivation in order for you to create results. And it's consistency that's going to get you the compounding results that you want. So you got to take small actions repeatedly, regularly, over time to outperform, any occasional burst of energy that you put into your work, right? So this is challenging because many of us look for the win of the activity before they can continue to do the thing over and over and over again. And what consistency, by definition, my definition, is being able to do something over and over and over again, even when the outcome is undesirable.
Mm.
When I first started in business, I made the leap in May. I made the announcement in May, January, and then I left. It was January 2007, and then I left in no, actually, yeah, January 2007, and I made the decision. I created my S corporation, and then in May I left. For 2 years, I wasn't making the money that I needed to make. I could have quit and gone back and started working again for someone,
Mhm.
but I didn't. I stayed consistent. And what I was doing over and over and over again never changed, even though the outcome didn't look great, even though what I ultimately wanted, which was to replace my multiple six-figure salary in corporate, it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening at all. But the small actions that I was taking every single day in my real estate company ended up compounding over time
Mm.
because that is what is required for results to um, your results to be mastered over and over again, right? It's consistency in your effort over time that's going to
Yeah.
create your progress to compound. Okay, so one of the execution rhythms you can think about in order to master this is, for example, some of us have good productivity habits where you plan out your week ahead of time, maybe on a Sunday, and at night you review what needs to get done the next day. And you have a habit of doing that, which is great. Well, I bet you have consistent results with whatever it is that you're working towards. So that's one way that you can do it. Another way you can do it is have a daily priority focus every single day, that you know there's one thing that you must get done every single day, that where nothing else matters, and you focus on that until it's complete. That's another way to create an execution rhythm. Um, Maybe it is,
Yeah,
you know,
like,
mhm,
sorry, not to interrupt you, but
yeah,
for me, like, when I am most successful, I get three things done before I do anything else. If those three things don't happen during the day, like my day, I'm so flustered and I can't seem to get the traction.
yeah. So you're saying you identify three things that must get done before the day starts?
Yeah,
I like that.
like,
I like that.
yeah. And when I do it, like, it's just giving me time, right? But
Yeah.
it's for myself. But when I do it, man, I'm on fire. Like, I can go and I can accomplish everything else. And when I don't,
Yeah, well, that's a system, right?
yep.
You put a system in place. And I actually like that because what happens for me is I actually do the one thing. I ask myself halfway through the day when I'm realizing I'm lollygagging, I'm like, oh my God, what's the one thing that I said I was going to get done? And the reason why that happens for me is because I actually have a very tough time prioritizing things with three kids. I have three grade school kids who are like high performers like their mom. I own a business, and so I'm like, oh my God, everything has to happen at one time. But I think if I took your idea, instead of just doing the one thing, if I'd say three things, I think that would help me actually. So that's
Yeah.
actually a really good idea.
I got it from somebody who said three things before 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
What are
Yeah.
those three things? And then it's like, you can include your kids in that, right? Like, if
Yeah,
I get,
absolutely.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. So that's something to remember is that creating consistency is the thing that's going to produce the results that you want and repeatable results that you want. Okay. So in closing,
Daryl, you're a rock star. Daryl just said, I do six things before 9 a.m. I'm
oh
like,
my gosh.
I know
man,
Okay.
that I
you
know that you're
go.
closing, but I wanted to add something to that real quick,
Yeah.
which is persistence. So consistency is it's on your calendar every day at 6 a.m., right? This, right? But persistence is the will to do it without judgment, meaning that the first couple of months is not going to get you anywhere. But it's the consistency of continuing to do that. But the will to do it despite there's no result at first, that's persistence, which I think is even equally good.
Yep. Yep. So what he's saying, and I wholeheartedly agree, is staying with something long enough to see the results. So if the results don't get produced within the period of time that you deemed for them to get completed, it doesn't mean you're not making progress. But what is absolutely happening is compounded progress. And you have to be willing to be persistent and stay with it long enough until the results appear. Am I right? Is that what we're saying, Daryl?
Yeah, like if you start a YouTube channel, you're not going to do 3 videos and say, I tried that.
Right, exactly. So, bottom line is results do not come from working harder. I think a lot of people say, oh, I got to do this. Like he just gave the YouTube example. I tried that, it didn't work. And so you did it three times, it didn't work. So then you switch to Instagram, right? Now you're doing Instagram lives because you want to see if that works. And that didn't work. So, you got this shiny nickel syndrome. So you try the next thing because it's working for someone else. And what you're really doing is you're working harder and not smarter. You're working smarter is staying with it, measuring the outcomes of each episode that you released and resolving to mastery on that platform until you get the results that you want. And that takes time in order to develop. So you just have to lead yourself differently. That's the bottom line here. Lead yourself differently, make different decisions, see yourself as a different leader than what you are. You are a leader because you wouldn't be on this call You wouldn't be pursuing what it is that you're pursuing. You wouldn't be doing the work that you're doing if you weren't a leader. You just have to lead yourself differently. And
Mm.
so, what I'm subscribing to you today is to make decisions, even when you're unclear, even when you're uncertain. Just make a decision. It could be the wrong decision. Decisions can always be reversed. If you were going left and you realize, oh, that was the wrong turn, make a right turn and just make that decision very quickly. So don't stay in the mess when you've made the wrong decision. Just change, switch directions. Okay, just be decisive. Again, change your identity. Be a confident person. Find the affirmations, whatever it is that you need to do. Put on some nice clothes. Put on some earrings. Be who it is you need to be in your mind that exudes and embodies confidence. And then consistency, staying with something long enough, even when things don't look good. Stay with it long enough until it produces the results that you desire. Exudes and embodies confidence. And then consistency, staying with something long enough, even when things don't look good. That's right. Stay with it long I hear myself echoing. I'm
Sorry.
like, yeah, that sounds
My
good.
fault. Totally
I
my
agree
fault.
with her.
I checked to see if Facebook was working.
Yes.
Learning, and it's working. But I was
Good,
like, no,
good.
don't talk to me.
Awesome. So yeah, so that's I'm complete. I'm complete. And this is actually I'm doing I'm doing monthly workshops now on this, like a subset of this topic that helps my clients dial into this concept, because we're particularly people that are in the online world right now. We are stuck in this learning mode ever since 2020. All of the things, the courses, and just all of that just being thrown at us, we got into this rut of learning and learning and learning. It's time to implement. It's time to implement. So I want to share, if I can. Can I share? Can I share a little bit
Please.
about this with
Yeah.
the group? Um, every single month, we have a workshop that I'm releasing that's called Book Clients in 30 Days. It's for men and women that are looking to get their first client or their consecutive client or their next client or consistent clients within a 30-day period. It's an hour and a half workshop, and then we actually go into another room for 4 weeks, and we actually do the thing necessary in order to book clients. And it's just a matter, it's like a simple process that we follow every single week, where we come into a room together, heads down, and we work. It's almost like I call it like execution sessions. So I want to just mention to you that's available to you. And
Listen, Cheryl, you just knocked it out of the park. Okay, you say, I have the best program for you. It costs $50 million, and here it is. Because I just nailed my presentation. Don't I may have maybe sometime. Let's go. Sell it.
yeah, so
Thanks,
we have
Sherell.
one.
Be bold and show your leadership skills.
Yeah. So are you saying that I was saying I might have? Is that what you're saying,
Yeah,
Daryl?
that's
Being
what
too
he was
shy about
saying.
it. You're like,
He's
well, I
ready to
kind of
make you
maybe
like,
have
let's
this
go.
thing that I kind of
Oh.
do. Maybe be bold. You give it a link and say, sign up, $50 million.
Oh, I
Let's
didn't even
go.
hear you. I didn't even hear that in myself. Isn't that interesting? I didn't
You're
even
Th-
hear
getting all
that.
shy at the end. Like,
uh,
close it, baby. Like, and here it
all
is.
right.
Here it is. Click here, deposit $500. Let's go.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I wasn't really selling that. I was
Always be closing. ABC.
All right. Thank you, Daryl. Okay. Back to Sherelle.
Yes. So, okay. So, per Daryl's lead, we have a workshop. It's called Book Clients in 30 Days. It's coming up next week. I am going to share with you a link that will allow you to sign up for it. If it's actually not sign up for it, that will actually allow you to get into the email where you'll be able to sign up for it. Uh,
Yay.
It is it's actually new. We launched it a month ago and we're going to be running it every single month throughout the whole year. It's just $88
Do
in
you
order to
have that link that you could drop in the chat?
Yeah, yeah, I'll drop it now. Um, and let me just grab it really quick. And we're looking forward to having you
Awesome.
there. So let me grab it really fast. Here we go. Okay, so the link I'm sharing with you in the chat is our newsletter. Our newsletter. In this newsletter, every single Sunday, we share my ideas on how I've been able to create leadership and make decisions and build successful businesses after corporate. Once you sign up for this newsletter, you're going to get the invitation for the book clients in 30 days. So I look forward to being in your ear every single Sunday, which is when these leadership ideas get dropped into your inbox. And here's the coolest thing about it, it's not just an email, you also have the option to hear me riff and just talk about the idea in a very live form, just like I'm talking to you right now every single Sunday as well. So it's a newsletter, plus I'm actually speaking to you about concepts live that I taught in the actual newsletter. So I look forward to speaking to you every single week and having you join us at the workshop, which is coming up here in just about a week's time.
Awesome. Thank you. You can stop sharing your
Oh, I'm sharing. Okay. Oh, yeah, I sure am. Let's,
and
there you
you
go.
you have given us so much goodness. Thank
Yes.
you, thank you, thank you for being here. Um, Drop in your chat 1 or 2 words, your greatest takeaway from today. Anybody? Lead.
Yes, Daryl.
Consistence. Yeah, consistency. I think I love that. Lead yourself differently. I took multiple like notes in the chat that I loved.
Yeah, I see them. Be bold. Yes, Trinisa.
Nice. Yes. Well, with that, we are going to say we are going to be bold. We are going to lead with consistency and decisiveness. That's probably next year. Like really making that decision and just going forward. Um, I, you said something that really touched me. Confidence grows when your actions align with who you are. And I know from a theater standpoint, when an actor knows what their objectives are in a scene, the scene goes better. When we know what our actions are and how we're going to move forward, it just goes better. So I
Fantastic.
I love this. Sherelle, I am so glad we found each other and my friend. I introduced you as my new friend and now we're just
Look at that.
continuing and growing that.
Yep.
Thank you so so very much. Guys, let's go lead. Let's go be decisive and confident and consistent. You ready? You with me? Woo! Have
Yes,
a
yes, yes.
blessed day. Yes! I love it. Have a really blessed day, everybody.
You too. Thank you.